This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everyone, it's Mark Schellinger, Director of the National SAM Innovation Project. Hey, thank you for joining me. We have something really cool to show you. It's a new feature in TimeTrack called Connected Events. I'm going to take you through the development site right now so you can see what a TimeTrack calendar looks like when you use Connected Events. So let's get started. So Connected Events is pretty cool. It's designed to let you schedule all your teacher evaluation elements all at once for every teacher in your building if you wanted to. Those elements are a pre-conference, an observation time, time for the leader or the principal to spend time preparing the paperwork for an evaluation, and a post-conference. It allows you to customize and do a lot of different things, but instead of talking about it, let's look at it. Right now, you're seeing a TimeTrack calendar where the principal has, or the SAM has made sure to say these are non-contact days. We're on August 1st, it's a non-contact day. And let's say the principal says, hey, I want to go ahead and schedule my teacher evaluations. You open up the TimeTrack logo and you go to Connected Events. You then click Schedule Formal Evaluation. You simply pick the people you want TimeTrack to go ahead and schedule the teacher evaluation elements for. By doing this, TimeTrack, when you finish, is going to go ahead and put it on your TimeTrack and spread it out so you can actually get all your teacher evaluations or staff evaluations done at the same time. I went ahead and picked 9 people. I could have instead done a group. I could have said, let's do the English group, but instead I went ahead and scheduled by individual and picked 9. I could have picked more, it was up to me. I then clicked the next button. Takes me to another screen. On this screen, it's asking me when I want to actually do these evaluations, have the pre-conference, etc. Well, you know, I know my kids are arriving at school on the 13th of August. Let's have these meetings start on the 27th, the pre-conferences. I'd really like to finish, though, by the end of September or maybe the first week in October. Let's say October 4th. I then click the next button. Now I get a screen that gives me some choices. You can see the pre-selected are a pre-conference, an observation, evaluation prep, and a post-conference. I have the option of adding additional observations if I want, but I'm going to have just a pre-conference, and it's already picked the descriptor, directive feedback. If I don't think my pre-conferences are directive feedback, they're, say, non-directive, I can go ahead and change that to non-directive if I wish. I also have the ability to change the length of the session. If I want it to be 20 minutes instead of 30 minutes, I can go ahead and put that in, and I can make any changes on those. I have the ability to go ahead and send the teacher a notice letting him know we're doing this by clicking auto remind, but I'm not going to do that because you know what, I might want to make some changes later, so let's take a look first. If I leave the tentative piece checked, then it's going to have a special notification on each event saying that you haven't looked at it yet and maybe you should. But since really any event on TimeTrack is tentative, I'm going to de-click that because on each event there's going to be another way you can see that it's a connected event. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. I click the next button and now I get the choice of saying how many days I want between the pre-conference with the teacher and the observation. I think I'm going to say 2 days. How many days I want between the observation and the evaluation prep. I'm going to say 1 day. How many days I want between the evaluation prep and a post-conference, and I think I'll say 2 days. And so I'll come over here and check 2 days instead of 1. Then I come down to the bottom and it asks me, when do you want to schedule this within a day? Well, you know, my kids arrive at school at 7:30 in the morning, so I wouldn't want us to do a pre-conference until about 8:30 in the morning. And my kids leave at 3:30, so I don't want to schedule anything that's going to start before 2:30. And then I click next. Now TimeTrack tells me it's ready to schedule for these 9 teachers, these 4 events, and here's where the magic happens. I click Start Scheduling, and it's so cool. TimeTrack is going through now and looking at that particular time frame, looking at what else you have on your TimeTrack already scheduled, like repeating events, and it's finding a place to put every one of these events in correct order. So every teacher has a pre-conference followed by an observation, followed by an evaluation prep for the principal, and then a post-conference. And like magic, it's done. It's done all 36 events for these teachers without you having to actually look for it. It does it automatically. Now, if it wouldn't be able to fit the event in the time frame you said, it would have told you which teacher you needed to look at a different time frame for. So I click OK, and I'm going to go to the second week in September and see if this worked. Yep, there they are. Look at Wednesday. You see an event after lunch called Observation for Benetti Joseph, or Joseph Benetti. You'll see this instructional event looks different than the other instructional events because it has a little link or a chain in the left-hand corner. That tells you this is a connected event. If I open the event up and I scroll down, it will tell me what events it's connected to. I can see my pre-conference was September 7th. I already did that with him. Then I see I'm doing this observation where I'm going to go in for an hour to observe him. I can see the next connected event is September 14th. It's the evaluation prep time for me to prepare the paperwork for Joseph. And then lastly, a post-conference with Joseph scheduled for September 19th. Now I can click and drag any of these events if I wish. I can just go to the side and move it to another day if I wish to do that. That doesn't mess up the other connected events with this event. You do want to be cognizant, though, to look to make sure that you're not going to move it out of sync. You wouldn't want to move the observation outside, say, or beyond the post-conference. It has to happen before. So connected events is a pretty easy way to be able to quickly schedule your calendar. Here we see again, in the next week, connected events that are already in place. Wouldn't it be cool to be able to see all your connected events and how they work? Well, it's easy to do. You go to the TimeTrack logo, I go to connected events, and I come down to scheduled events. If I click future, I now see all of my connected events for the observation or evaluation process for every teacher in alphabetical order that I've scheduled so far. And I scheduled 9 of my teachers so far, and so I have quite a list. Wouldn't it be cool to be able to print this? Well, you can do it. You click the print view. And now I can go to the print option up in the upper left-hand corner, and I can print and give to teachers or my office staff the list of when I'm doing each of these pieces of the formal evaluation process. You know, we were aware that for some of you, you may want to play with this a bit before you actually do it. So we made it very easy to delete everything you just did if you wanted to. To do that, you click the Allow Deletion of Confirmed Events with the action below, and then you simply click Delete All at the bottom. Eric Kramer, our designer, who created connected events for us, which is a unique piece of TimeTrack. Nobody else has this. You can only do it in TimeTrack. He protected you by making sure you have to click twice before you delete all these events. It'll take TimeTrack just a minute. It'll go through, and it deleted all those connected events. Another way of using connected events would be to go up to the TimeTrack logo, go to Connected Events, click Schedule Formal Evaluation. This time, let's pick the people in a group, and we'll pick all the English teachers. It looks like there's 7 of them. Why would you do this instead of doing all your teachers at once? Well, your principal might want to stay in one section, or you as a principal or a SAM might want to deal just with one group of teachers first, and you can do that too. You just then click Next. You'd say what time frame you want to do it, and let's say it's going to be the day after Labor Day, September 4th, and I want to complete this by, let's do sometime in November 12th. So a pretty broad period of time. But this time, maybe all I want to do is do the pre-conference. And so let's go back a screen, and let's go ahead and schedule all our pre-conferences from the September 4th, right after Labor Day, to say September 14th. So you do all your pre-conferences first. I say I only want the pre-conference scheduled. I click Next, and I click Start Scheduling. What it's going to do is it's going to schedule just the pre-conference, that one part of the teacher evaluation system, for each one of those teachers, and it tells me it did it and it completed it. I can now go to my calendar, and I'll be able to find people who have scheduled that pre-conference meeting with the principal. This can be really helpful because you might want to do teachers during their prep time to do that pre-conference time, and you'll be able to specify the window of time you're going to do it. This time you notice there's a little yellow or white circle in the upper right-hand corner. That's there because I didn't declick make this event tentative. In order to change it from a tentative event with that marker in the upper right-hand corner, I can open the event, I can go down, and I can click, yep, this is when I want to do this, and click update. If you don't want to have to deal with that, then what you would do is you'd make sure when you're setting up connected events, you make sure to declick that you want to mark it as a tentative event. Either way, you're still going to have that mark in the upper left-hand corner, the icon showing the link, showing it's a connected event. So the other thing I wanted to share with you is what you want to do before you start doing connected events. And here's a good example. This principal went ahead and said it was contact days after Labor Day, September 4th through the 7th. But he or she or the SAM did not create the frame of their time track yet. When I say a frame, I mean the things they normally do, like getting started in the morning, a management activity where you think through what you're going to do for the day, bus duty, walkthroughs you might be planning, a time for lunch, a staff meeting. If you don't tell TimeTrack what you're planning on scheduling, then it's going to go ahead and connected events and take the first open space and it will mess you up. So before you do connected events, make sure you put in your frame. In this case, we see the principal has a frame for the day. They have a getting started activity as a repeating event. They have a SAM daily meeting as a repeating event. Walkthroughs they do 3 times a day. Lunch duty, walkthrough they do in the afternoon, bus duty, and even a staff meeting. By doing these frame pieces first, what you'll do is you'll keep connected events from trying to schedule you at a time that you know is not going to work. This way, connected event is going to place it at a time that you don't have scheduled yet if you put in the frame first. The other thing that's kind of important is to set your contact days. Look at November, last week in November, and you can see this principal doesn't have any connected events on that Thanksgiving week. He doesn't have those because he's not working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and he told TimeTrack they were non-contact days. You can set your contact days by going to the TimeTrack logo, going to settings, and then going to contact day setup. Make sure you start in July because you want to make sure TimeTrack didn't think you worked in July. If yours looks like this and is showing July all blue, just click clear all and it will change it to gray, letting TimeTrack know not to count that, and then go to set in advance. You can do each month, month by month, showing TimeTrack when you're working and when you're not. This is an important piece because TimeTrack connected events will not schedule anything on a non-work day for you, but it needs to know what those days are, and so that's a setup piece you want to do. Another thing that's helpful to do before you set up and start using connected events is to go to settings and go to individual group setup. Take a minute to remove anybody who's left your school. The way you do that is simply click the deactivate button on the far right-hand side. TimeTrack immediately takes that person off your list of people you can associate an event with. It doesn't delete their data though. You can still get to their data using the dashboard. And you can also go back and reactivate them any time you want. If I click the tab up at the top, inactive people, I can go ahead and reactivate the teacher if I wish. So I'll put Curtis Barr back in the active group and let's see if it worked. Yep, there he is. Curtis Barr is active again. The other thing you want to do is go ahead and put in the people who you've added to your staff. So let's go ahead and put Jim Mercer in. Let's pretend he joined your staff. Jim is our tech person who does just amazing things. And I click that, and I also put in his birthday if I wish, and then I click add. By doing that, TimeTrack will know who to let you choose from when you're using connected events or when you're going to associate an event with a person. So connected events is pretty easy. It's set up for you so it will save you time and you won't have to spend hours and hours and hours trying to schedule all the teacher evaluation pieces. I have to tell you, I was a principal starting back in 1982. I'm pretty old. I remember my first year running into a panic situation because I was a month away from when all my teacher evaluations were supposed to be done, and I hadn't actually scheduled all of them. It really worried me. That's why I had the idea of connected events. In the SAM work, I want to make it easier for you to be able to schedule your work. So I talked to our designer a couple of years ago and said, let's do this connected event thing. And Eric Kramer made it happen. And starting August 6th, you can use it and you can benefit from connected events. Lastly, a word of caution. A lot of principals and SAM teams confuse the teacher evaluation system with the work they have to do to improve teacher practice. The teacher evaluation system can only improve teacher practice, according to research, if it's connected with things like walkthroughs, work with a professional development or a professional learning community, or professional development work you do with a teacher, lots of feedback. So be careful when you do connected events that you also begin thinking about, when am I going to do my walkthroughs? When am I going to have feedback sessions with teachers? When am I going to attend a PLC? Two things to finish up. You want to make sure that you've set your monthly goals. If you haven't done that yet, to set a monthly goal, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is go to the TimeTrack logo, go to settings, and click monthly goal setup. You can set your monthly goals this way. You want your monthly goal to be something higher than your baseline. So you want to look at the top and see where your baseline is and make sure your monthly goals are higher than your baseline. You can change your goal month to month. It doesn't always have to be as high as it was last year. Give yourself some flexibility and use your goal setting piece effectively. The last thing I wanted to mention to you before we finish up is you'll notice on this TimeTrack calendar, when I go to this principal's dashboard, it's blank. When I double click it, it shows there's no data. You didn't lose your data from last year. The reason there's no data now is the school year hasn't started for this principal. To get the data from last year, you go to Options, you click the button that says Date Range, and you go to last year and click Apply. Now, TimeTrack will pull all the data from last year and you can access it. You can look at your time with individual teachers. You can look at your time with all teachers. If I click the Expand button, it will show me all my teachers, and I can even then look at an individual teacher and have that conversation with the principal. I might say, here's your time with Alice, time you spent last year. What do you want to do this year? How did your work last year improve, Alice? Would she say so? You want, as a SAM or a principal, to make sure you have those conversations, not just about increasing your time, which is really a good thing, but also about, is that time you're spending making a difference? Well, everyone, the purpose of our session today was to show you connected events. Easy to use. Click TimeTrack, go to connected events, click schedule formal evaluation, and follow the prompts. Do not worry about making a mistake. Let's say you schedule 200 different events for teachers and you go, uh-oh, I made a mistake. I didn't set up my calendar frame first. I didn't put in the things I knew I had to do. I have a big mess now. No, you don't. Just go to TimeTrack, go to connected events, go to scheduled events, click allow deletion of confirmed events, click future, and you'll be able to delete all of the events you've scheduled with one button. I'd really encourage you to explore this, experiment with it a bit. Go ahead and try scheduling a group of staff members and then go ahead and delete them. Then decide what else you want to do for the frame of your TimeTrack so it'll work best for you. Hey everyone, the work you do is more important than what anybody else does in the country. You are changing lives by your work with teachers to improve their work with classroom students. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your commitment to the SAM process, and I wish you a great year. Thanks everyone. Enjoy using connected events and let us know what next new thing you want in TimeTrack.